Okay, let's put your thinking caps on. This is a rather complex little problem. This is page or exercise E1428. You'll find a demonstration or an example of it on page 684 in the textbook. Um, this problem has principal numbers of 200,000, 5-year period, and 9% rate. What's happened is the company has paid the first $18,000 payment, and at that time informed you that it would not make payments for 2011 or 2012. It would start payments again in 2013, 14, and a year later pay it off. Now, your problem is, how do you account for this? Well, the first thing you have to do, I set it out in steps here, is you've got to set your numbers up. So you have to set the timeline up, which is what this is right here. And then you have to do the present value. You've got to figure the present value of the principal and the payments, the interest payments. So to do that, you're going to use our friendly present value tables, time value tables, and you're going to use table 3, which is for lump sum, and table 4, which is for ordinary annuities. The first one is relatively easy. You take the lump sum of 200,000 and you're going to bring that back to a present value of 129,000. And then you're going to look at the interest payments. Now these are interesting because now instead of 5 years, so you should have had 5 years, you've only got 3 payments out here, and you've got 2 deferred. And if you look back in chapter, oh my goodness, it's in the time value module, it will tell you how to account for a deferred payment. You end up with 2 factors. First factor is for the actual the 3 payments you're going to be using. This one is for the deferred payments, so it pulls it out. So those payments they're making are at this time are now worth $38,000 or $38,349. You'll add the 129 and the 38 and come up with the value of the impaired loan at this time. Now, what do you do with that? Well, that number is going to tell you the doubtful allowance account figure. So you'll subtract the 168,335 from the 200,000 and come up with an allowance for bad debts, or an allowance, doubtful allowance account of $31,664.07. So that's the first entry you're going to have to worry about. Second entry you're going to have to start worrying about is the first payment made and then the second payment made, the missed payment. Even though the loan is not paying, you still have to record this. So what you end up with is this group of entries for the overall loan. Here's where you set up your allowance. You've put out the $31,664 for the bad debt expense. You created the doubtful account. Come down to year 2011. Should have made a payment. They didn't make a payment. You've still got to record this. This is what should have been is recorded from the present value of right here. The present value of that loan at 9%. This is the number that should be returned, and that'll be a revenue, but that revenue is not really going to mean too much because it's counterbalancing the bad debt expense. You will then debit the allowance account. Come down to year 2012, same thing, only now the present value of that amount of money is added with that 15,000. So this becomes our present value for 2012 right here times 9%, and that'll give you this number. So now you've taken care of these 2 years right here. They're taken care of, and we should be back on track, and you're going to do normal entries from that point on. You'll do a cash, you'll do an interest revenue, you'll do a cash, an interest revenue, a cash, an interest revenue, and then in 2015 they're going to pay off that note. So you'll get $200,000 and you'll write off this note or pay it down. And you'll heave a big sigh of relief. This is a very complex operation. Anything can go wrong. It can become impaired again. You may have to write off the whole amount, but this is how you would basically handle one that's in impairment. Please take this and look at it, try to figure it out, write it down. I'm going to post this in the hints so that you can look at it and make your own entries and turn it in when you're ready. Thank you, and email me with questions.